welcome to this special edition of the Monster Island Film Vault, a podcast seeking entertainment and enlightenment through tokusatsu. Nothing. I'm just a kid from Indiana. Ha! But once again, friend of the podcast, Ryan, the Omni Viewer, Collins, is once again doing his series on favorite scenes in kaiju media. This time with the puntastic title, Minus One Monstrous Moment, to celebrate the release of Toho's epic new Godzilla film. Jimmy, that's what this button is for. You've been out of the producer booth for too long, man. Hey, no need to get salty, man. Sheesh. As I was saying, I'm once again participating in the One Monstrous Moment, and finally, the Nate has come back to talking about Godzilla. Okay, fine, if you want to get technical, I'm waxing philosophical about Jet Jaguar. Well, speak of the robot devil, I say his name and he pops into the producer booth with Jimmy. Yes, I know he's your sidekick. We have a hierarchy around here. He's your sidekick and you're my sidekick. I'm not getting into this with you, okay? But, Kaiju Lovers, Jet is today's subject because he made his grand return to live action after a singular anime phase. Ha! In this year's Godzilla Day short, Operation Jet Jaguar. If you want to hear me gush all over it, join MIFV Max on Patreon to hear an exclusive podcast where I discuss it and the other videos that drop November 3rd. To put it succinctly, this short is pure, undiluted fan service at its best. But what made it resonate with me more than the previous year's shorts? For the last time, just because I have 7 and counting action figures of Jet on my shelf and drooled all over the just announced SH Monster Arts figure of him doesn't mean I'm obsessed. I'm a fan, not a fanatic. Jet, don't forget you could easily punch my lights out. You don't need a restraining order. Ugh. Anyway, as I was saying, Kaiju Lovers, I could talk about a lot of things in this short, from the wonderful homages to Godzilla vs. Megalon to Jet's Ultraman-style badassery. You're welcome, I think. Jimmy says he programmed the Superman punch for you, but the Guyver-inspired jumping spin kick was all you, buddy. Your training paid off. Haha, you've heard of the Rida kick, so I guess that makes this the Jaguar kick? Yes, Adon from Street Fighter uses that attack name, but I don't care. Instead, I want to focus on Jet's heroic charge and initial fight with Godzilla. It illustrates why, as I said on Donnie Winter's YouTube show Growing Up with Godzilla, why I appreciate this superhero robot with a Jack Nicholson smile. His simple heroism. You're too humble. Many people write off Jet Jaguar as an obvious Ultraman knockoff starring in the most slapdash Godzilla film ever made. As I've joked, he's powered by plot convenience and invents more superpowers than Silver Age Superman. But I couldn't help but love how pure and earnest he is. Yes, he's a robot, but that undercooked script unintentionally infers that he's an advanced AI that evolves sentience on the fly. And he's determined to protect his friends. You don't have to wear that red dress. Thanks for the setup, Jimmy. Where was I? Oh yes, he's determined to protect his friends, Japan, and indeed, the world, and there isn't a shred of irony. No ulterior motives, no nothing. It's just what he does. In our increasingly cynical world filled with anti-heroes and heroes who are actually villains, it's refreshing. The world does need Jet Jaguar, and this short exemplifies that. Jet is deployed to defeat Godzilla and save a city. You get the feeling that Jet lands far away from Godzilla to stay just out of range of his atomic ray. Jet might be an advanced AI developed to fight Big G, but his comical design accentuates how outmatched he is against the king of the monsters. Godzilla makes this clear by shooting his ray at Jet, who responds not with an energy shield like his Ultra Inspiration, but with a fleet-footed dodge. What follows is some kaiju-sized parkour as Jet flips, tumbles, and jukes through the city, dodging one atomic blast after another till he reaches Godzilla for some mano-a-mano combat. But even then, all Jet has are his mighty hands of steel and his wits to defeat his opponent, who he befriends in the end, by the way. If I understood you correctly, you want me to show the Kaiju Lovers this scene. I would've, but I don't want to incur the wrath of Toho and the YouTube overlords. Their copyright bots make Skynet look like spell check. It's too bad you're too busy for them to hire. What? Chat GPT? What are you? Anyway, it takes courage to charge headlong into a dangerous situation, especially for an underdog like Jet. It's the sort of mindset that makes a firefighter run into a burning building, a cop toward gunfire, and a soldier into the battlefield. Survive the war in space, we know. Sure. But Kaiju Lovers, it's also a positive example of artificial intelligence. Unlike Skynet and its Terminators, Jet's goal is to protect humanity. While we learn little about the scientists who built him, although now the short finally has subtitles, thanks Toho, Jet's actions throughout the short showed that they programmed him with morality and ethics. Like any computer, it only knows what a user tells it, which is why it matters who programs these machines. Jaguar see, Jaguar do. What's Jet say? Double team? Not fair! Ugh. Now, the short is also a great example of fan service coupled with new material. Jet's heroic charge starts with his classic fighting stance, one open hand and one clenched fist, but it's filled with modern Ultra Series flair with flips and dives and even, as I said, a bit of parkour. The high points are the Superman punch, Matrix dodge, and the jump kick that ends with a classic three-point superhero landing. It's pure tokusatsu gold. But the main fan service comes at the end when we get a variation of Jet's handshake with Godzilla when he grabs the wounded King of the Monsters' hand and helps him stand in a shot that emulates the famous Predator handshake. Wow, Jet, you kiss your mother with that mouth? Technically, but otherwise the joke would be cancelable. But the coup de grace, Kaiju Lovers, is Jet's silent conversation with Godzilla is punctuated by his trademark thumbs up. That elicited cheers in the original live stream, and with good reason. Not only is it nostalgic, it adds weight by making it a sign that he and Godzilla have become friends and allies to battle King Ghidorah. Yes, GMK Ghidorah shows up in this. It's the classic Stan Lee trope of heroes fighting each other when they first meet due to mind control, misunderstanding, or other issues before teaming up to fight a villain. I love it! Hey, Jet's gotta buy me dinner first. If you haven't seen this short yet, Kaiju Lovers, it's available officially on the Godzilla channel on YouTube until 2024, I'm told. Don't miss this opportunity because Toho typically locks these shorts in the vault after they've been in the wild for 30 seconds. I didn't quite catch that. Of course he downloaded it into his head. You just better hope Toho doesn't send their copyright bots here and give Jet the Count Dooku treatment. Never fails. Anyway, thanks for joining me on the Monster Island Film Vault for Minus One Monstrous Moment. If you'd like to learn more about the show and how to contact us, stay tuned for the credits. Speaking of which, Jimmy, cue 'em! Thank you for listening to the Monster Island Film Vault, a podcast produced and hosted by Nate Marchand. If you want to join the discussion and be heard on the show, we'd love to hear from you. So email us at feedback@monsterislandfilmvault.com. Our website is monsterislandfilmvault.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Monster Island Film Vault, and on Twitter, where our handle is at the Monster Isla 1. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, and TikTok. Follow Jimmy from NASA on Twitter at NASAJimmy, and our many other colorful characters using the links in the show notes. The podcast logo was created by Tyler Souls from TylerDrawsComics.com. Our theme song is Wanderer on the Offensive, live edit by B33J, Sarax, Juan Madrano, and Nonsensical Lexus, which is a remix of Counterattack Battle with the Colossus and The Opened Way Battle with the Colossus by Kootani from the video game Shadow of the Colossus. All film and audio clips belong to their respective copyright holders, and no infringement is intended or implied. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and or Podchaser to spread the word about the show. You can also support us by joining MIFV Max on Patreon. The Monster Island Film Vault is a Moonlighting Ninjas media production. Sayonara!